Good Tuesday evening and welcome to the NCWLIFE Evening News. I'm Grant Olson. Before we get to today's top news stories, let's take a quick look outside our weather window and a beautiful, absolutely gorgeous shot from this afternoon. Looking down from the Wenatchee Heights area in the cross camera, that's where this Sky-Fi tower camera is located. Beautiful blue sky, some hanging low clouds, and we did see plenty of clouds throughout our morning and early afternoon hours, and then plenty of sun in the afternoon, and that allowed our temperatures to climb to pretty much 40 degrees around the area. And as we make our way through the rest of this work week and continue to see mild and a little bit unsettled week, we will see another good storm system move through tomorrow. That will make for some rainy weather on Wednesday, and then another storm system will move in on Friday, bringing us another good chance for some storms. But good news is it's going to stay on the warm side out there with temperatures in the 40s and yes, even 50 degrees. And we'll talk much more weather coming up a little bit later on. And now a few of the stories we're following for you tonight. Police say a former employee at Mission Ridge Ski Area admitted to stealing large amounts of money from the resort. A Pierce County man pleaded guilty this week to stabbing a Wenatchee tavern goer for kissing his mother. And a 23-year-old woman was killed and 3 other people were injured in a one-vehicle rollover that was on Interstate 90 outside Ellensburg yesterday morning. But first, we begin tonight. A man remains in critical condition tonight after allegedly fleeing from East Wenatchee police, dousing himself in gasoline, and setting himself on fire before his vehicle came to a stop. Quan Ho Pham is in treatment for his burns at Harborview Medical Center in Seattle. Police believe the 48-year-old Pham is the same man who threatened 2 women with a machete about 8:45 p.m. Monday at the Wenatchee Valley Mall, then fled in a silver passenger car. East Wenatchee Police Chief Ray Coble explains how the incident began.
He has an estranged relationship with his wife and daughter. His daughter made arrangements to spend some time with him yesterday. He was driving her around, let her out of the car, made threats to her, said that he had a weapon in the car and things like that. She was able to talk him into driving back over towards the mall. And when they got to the mall, she bailed out of the car and ran into the mall, and he chased after her and had a machete.
Inside the mall, Coble said, Pham made threats to the child and the mother until a bystander intervened and then fled in the Lexus before police arrived. When police later saw that same car traveling on Eastmont Avenue, they gave chase across the George Seller Bridge.
The vehicle went to various locations throughout the city of East Wenatchee and then ended up going into Wenatchee. Tried to deploy spike strips on the vehicle in Wenatchee on the avenue near Ferry Street, but that was unsuccessful, and so the pursuit continued. The whole driver's section of the car burst into flames, and then the vehicle went up over the curb and into the Save Mart parking lot, and the driver bailed out of the car, and he was fully engulfed in flames. It's just a very unfortunate situation. Wish the outcome would have been a little different. We wish we would have had more time to talk to him and deal with it without him hurting himself.
Police officers extinguished the flames and EMTs took the suspect to Central Washington Hospital before transfer to Harborview, where officials say he's in the ICU in critical condition. If Pham survives, he'll face likely charges of kidnapping, harassment, and eluding police. However, Coble said his condition appears dire. We'll be following this story for you as it develops. Well, police say a former employee at Mission Ridge Ski Area admitted to stealing large amounts of money from the resort. Mary Elizabeth Peterson, who's 47, allegedly took almost $40,000 while she was employed there in 2018 and 2019 by falsifying refunds on season passes and then transferring the money into her own bank accounts. Chelan County Sheriff's deputies say Peterson, who's also known as Mary Nelson, admitted to the theft in a police interview back in December, but she believes she'd stolen only about $20,000. She was manager of the Mission Ridge ticketing department from fall 2018 until she was fired last spring. She's charged in Chelan County Superior Court with first-degree theft. Meanwhile, a Pierce County man pleaded guilty this week to stabbing a Wenatchee tavern goer for kissing his mother. Peyton Baylor, who's 22, faces a recommended sentence of just over 7 months in jail after he pleaded Monday to second-degree assault. Back in July of 2018, Baylor stabbed a man on Wenatchee Avenue after the victim kissed Baylor's mother as they left a local tavern. The attack was caught on security video. Prosecutors say they'll also recommend Baylor spend 18 months on probation, pay restitution for the victim's non-fatal injuries, and receive mental health treatment. A 23-year-old woman was killed and 3 other people were injured in a one-vehicle rollover on Interstate 90 outside Ellensburg on Monday morning. The Washington State Patrol said about 6:18 a.m., a 2005 Chevy Avalanche being driven eastbound by 48-year-old Alfredo Calderon Diaz of Federal Way left the roadway to the left, overcorrected, and rolled, causing the passengers in the rear seats to be ejected from that vehicle. One of those passengers, 23-year-old Karen Calderon Valencia, later died from her injuries at Harborview Medical Center in Seattle. Neither she nor the other passenger in the back seat, 18-year-old Giovanni Calderon Valencia, were wearing a seatbelt. Calderon Diaz was taken to Kittitas Valley Healthcare in Ellensburg, while the other 3, including front seat passenger 48-year-old Maria Calderon, were transported to Harborview. Calderon Diaz was cited for driving too fast for conditions. Coming up next, the Kashmir woman accused of killing her own elderly mother on January 11th must undergo mental evaluation before she can stand trial. Douglas County PUD commissioners approved a series of rate increases on Monday on residential users, data centers, and cryptocurrency miners. And we'll have the story of an animal rescue that will warm your heart. I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News.
It's a marvelous markdown at Sangster Buick GMC.
Hi, Corey Sangster, and we're ending the year with a bang. Take advantage of employee pricing on a great selection of new Buick and GMCs. 2019 GMC Sierra 1500 Crew SLT with savings over $11,000. Or this 2019 Buick Encore all-wheel drive up to $7,000 off. Or choose employee pricing. Before you buy, compare price, service, and selection.
December is a marvelous markdown at Sangster Buick GMC or sangstermotors.com.
Family roles change with time. You may find yourself being an unpaid caregiver to a loved one. Caregiving can be rewarding, but also stressful. Taking care of yourself is vital. Aging and Adult Care of Central Washington has low or no-cost services for unpaid caregivers, such as in-home support, care supplies, and counseling. Connect in your local area by calling Aging and Adult Care at 800-572-4459 and mention you're interested in caregiver support.
When it comes to our community, you can count on Town Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram to be invested. From supporting community college scholarships through a concert series or participating in a local high school homecoming event, Town Chrysler has always put the community first. Buying local supports the jobs and programs you care about most. When it comes time to buy your next new or used car, SUV, or truck, remember, there's no reason to leave town.
Welcome back. In other news, the Kashmir woman accused of killing her own elderly mother on January 11th must undergo mental evaluation before she can stand trial. Anita Burgess Jones is charged with murder in Chelan County Superior Court. Deputies said she admitted to beating, strangling, and stabbing 96-year-old Catherine Burgess Wixai, who shared her Kashmir home. But Jones' attorneys say she has a long history of mental illness and can effectively communicate with them to prepare her case. She'll undergo analysis and treatment while in custody to learn if she can be formally charged February 5th. Douglas County PUD commissioners approved a series of rate increases on Monday on residential users, data centers, and cryptocurrency miners. The biggest increase will come for cryptocurrency miners, who will see their rates increase 10% every 6 months for the next 5 years. Data centers will be hit with 5% increases on the same schedule. Residential and other commercial power customers will see 3% increases each year for the next 5 years. The PUD says the rate increases are needed for a $500 million repair project at Wells Dam, among other things. At the same time, PUD commissioners lifted a moratorium on new contracts with data centers and cryptocurrency miners that had been in place since last May. Eric Broughton is a private lands biologist for the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife, and he's seen all kinds of wildlife miscues driving the highways of north central Washington. Monday was a little different, however, as he noticed something out on the ice at Banks Lake as he drove SR 155 north of Coulee City.
Saw something out there on the ice, and it didn't look like a coyote or an eagle. It looked like something different, and so I pulled over off the side of the road, and I got my binoculars out, and I could see it looked like a dog had fallen through the ice. So I turned my vehicle around and went back north to another 15 miles north to get my waders, because I knew it was pretty shallow out there, and he had fallen through and he just couldn't get out, and so I knew it wasn't too deep, so I figured I might be able to get there with my waders. I ran into another employee, our fish creel guy, and he grabbed his boat, put my waders on, got to the scene. The dog was still there, barking, so he was alive still. No idea how long he'd been in the water. I talked to some people earlier in the day that had seen it, and I'm guessing it was probably in the water for like 5 hours, stuck in the ice. And so I got my waders on and the shovel and went around the edge of the ice flow to where it was open on the just north of Goose Island there, and came down, and it's pretty shallow, and was able to get out there. And it was about 3.5, 4 feet where the dog was, and I was able to chop into where the hole was. But we were able to get the dog. The dog was shaking, and it was pretty weak, and we were able to get it rescued. And then the boat, we were able to load it up in the boat and then get the boat to shore. And then the fire department guys, they came down and they recognized the dog, and so they knew who to take it home to. So in the end, it was a good experience, and glad we could help.
Fantastic. We're happy to report that Hazel is back with her family and is warm and dry. Thanks to Eric Broughton. Thanks also to Becky Holder for taking those great photos and sharing them with all of us. You're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News. Coming up next, tonight's features story and your complete local weather forecast. That and much more still to come on the NCWLIFE Evening News. Stay with us.
Arctic Refrigeration and Heating, serving North Central Washington, is proud to offer the finest heating and cooling air quality products along with prompt and professional customer service since 1984. Regardless of the temperature outside, Arctic is here for you. Arctic offers a variety of services: residential and commercial heating, air conditioning, commercial refrigeration, as well as planned fall and spring maintenance for the overall well-being of your system. Call Arctic Refrigeration and Heating for your heating and cooling needs.
Bring the whole family up to Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house in historic downtown Chelan. Applewood smoked brisket, street-style tacos, and our award-winning barbecue rubs and sauces. Our meals pair perfectly with our exciting lineup of craft ales, made right here in Chelan. We've got room for big groups, or give us a call for catering. So grab the kids and check out the fun at Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house located in the heart of Chelan.
When it comes to finding a memory care community, you want the very best. You want to know that your loved one is safe and receiving compassionate care in a loving environment. Fieldstone Memory Care is an innovative assisted living community designed for those with Alzheimer's, dementia, and Parkinson's disease. You'll find a community specifically designed to enrich residents' lives. The Fieldstone team is here to help you navigate the important decisions you face when a loved one has dementia or Alzheimer's. Welcome home to Fieldstone.
Welcome back to the NCWLIFE Evening News. Ballots were mailed last week for several special elections in Chelan and Douglas counties. Included on the February 11th ballot are school levies for Kashmir, Chelan, Waterville, Arundel, Brewster, Bridgeport, and Mansfield. In many cases, the districts are seeking to dig out of financial holes created when the state's 2018 legislature came up with a new formula to funding formula in response to the successful McCleary lawsuit. In tonight's feature story, Waterville School District Superintendent Tabitha Myers tells Wake Up Wenatchee Valley's Dan Kuntz that her district's levy increase proposal still falls far short of what was collected prior to the McCleary decision.
Last year we ran at the cap. The state mandated cap last year was about $1.50, and so was $1.50. That's where we ran last year. We're asking our voters to approve a levy this time of $2.50 for a 4-year levy. Couple of reasons why. This is not to expand programs. This is really for existing programs. So things like special education services, food service, extracurriculars, maintenance. This is a 25-year-old building. I think it looks fabulous when you walk through it. It doesn't look that old.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't at all.
But there are things there are maintenance and updates that need to be made. So that's the reason for the $2.50 rather than the $1.50 that it was mandated last year. Prior to the McCleary fix, Waterville School was running levies around $4. So we're still significantly less than we were prior to the McCleary decisions and the legislation that followed that.
You said the McCleary fix. I have talked to professional educators who said McCleary didn't fix anything.
No.
The new way that schools are being funded via the McCleary decision for a school like Waterville, is it a bad thing or a good thing? What's going on now?
For us, it's had a huge negative impact, absolutely. And the biggest, 2 years ago, we made cuts in staffing across the board, classified, certified, administrative. And we are still not back to those levels. I don't anticipate that we'll be able to be back to those levels based on the McCleary decision and what that did to our funding. The local dollars, for us, the impact was big enough that the state even recognized the huge negative impact for us and gave a one-time hold harmless of about $175,000 to try to offset the loss that they knew we were going to be receiving based on the levy.
That doesn't seem like a lot of money to me.
Correct. It doesn't, and it's a one-time fix. It's not a long-term fix. So for us, that hold harmless, although helpful for 1 year, doesn't offset the fact that that is the cap that we'll be at from here on out.
Time now for a check of your North Central Washington weather forecast. And before we get to all those details, let's take, as we always do, a look outside our weather window. How about this shot? Once again, postcard perfect, just like yesterday, except today, a dash of blue in our picture. We did see a lot of blue sky this afternoon. That allowed our temperatures to climb a little bit, but a beautiful shot of our Wenatchee Valley from our Wenatchee Heights cross camera. That's our Sky-Fi Tower camera up that way. And what a beautiful shot with just a few lingering clouds over the Cascades. But temperatures today, they did tick up nicely. In fact, that's going to be adjusted to about 40 degrees. It did go up a little bit since I got this graphic together this afternoon. 37 is normal. 32 is where we started the day. 26 is our normal low temperature for this time of year. Record high, a beautiful 54 degrees. That was set in 1984. Record low, 8 below, set in 1972. Good rain overnight once again. We picked up a little bit over 1/4 of an inch of rain at Pangbourne Airport. That's until midnight. We'll adjust that again tomorrow, what we got from midnight on, and there was still plenty of that too. So to date, January 1st to now, we're at 1.05 inches, and that's just about 1/10 of an inch now behind where we need to be. So we are catching up quickly with all these quick-hitting storm systems. Sunrise this morning, 7:32, and the sunset this afternoon at 4:56. Let's take a peek now at how our Hump Day Wednesday will shape up, and it's going to be a little bit cooler than we saw today with temperatures, as I mentioned, in the 40s, but tomorrow will be a little rainier too, so that'll be more cloud cover. We'll keep our temperatures down. 39 for Moses Lake and Ephrata, 36 Ellensburg. We will see 36 as well in Wenatchee. Mid-30s then for the rest of us all the way up into Okanagan County. You folks in Omak tomorrow, you're high as well at 35 degrees. Taking a look at that surface loop now. Tonight we can expect patchy fog around our area as we get ready for that next storm to move in. Boy, and it's a whopper up here in the Gulf of Alaska. Very tightly packed isobars here, and that means very windy conditions off the coast. Things will ease up as far as wind goes as we get into Wednesday, but a 70% chance of rain where we could see 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch of rain out of this first wave of moisture off this big low pressure system in that Gulf of Alaska, and that will continue with just scattered showers as we get into Thursday. A 30% chance of mainly evening showers, a little heavier over in Vancouver Island and parts of western British Columbia, and then the next wave of moisture moves through on Friday. That will bring us once again some cloudy skies, a 60% chance of rain, but we will be unseasonably unseasonably mild with this nice ridge of high pressure over us, and we're talking temperatures near 60 on Friday and then in the 60s on Saturday. We're talking for the Tri-Cities area. You folks in Moses Lake, I think you'll see 60, although we will see about a 50% chance of rain, and some of that in the Cascades could be on the heavy side. So warm and wet as we get into the first part of the weekend. By Sunday, and of course the big game on Sunday, partly cloudy skies, a 30% chance for rain, and we will see some cooler temperatures. Notice the blue now dotting our map. That means 30 degrees temperatures and low 40s, and that will be our situation once again as we get into Monday with cooler temperatures. But the good news, and we haven't seen it in a long time, mostly sunny skies. So warm and wet as we get into the upcoming weekend. Let's take a look now at your Patriot Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling 7-day forecast. Overnight low tonight, 31 degrees, 39 tomorrow. It's going to be a rainy one with a 70% chance of the wet stuff. A little less chance for rain on Thursday, but then it goes right back up to a 60% chance of precip on Friday and 49. Look at the day on Saturday. 50% chance of rain and 51 degrees, 45 for Sunday, and then a bit of a cool down as we begin our next work week. Monday, mostly sunny with a high then of 39 degrees. And that's a look at your local weather forecast. Coming up next, tonight's sports report with Eric Granstrom and more as the NCWLIFE Evening News continues right after this.
Reinventing FaceTime here at Blue Lagoon Pool and Spa, a new family-owned and operated business located in the heart of downtown Wenatchee. Owner Andrew Vickery brings forth years of experience to help you transition your backyard into a place where memories are made, family time is looked forward to, and friends are always welcome. Blue Lagoon Pool and Spa offers many different styles and sizes of artesian spa. Let us help you add hydrotherapy to your already healthy lifestyle.
This is Caitlin Hedershe, the producer of the NCWLIFE magazine. Each week, I'm bringing you a look behind the scenes of the faces, places, and events that make North Central Washington the place we call home. Tune in every weekday for an in-depth look at a new topic each week. From local artists in their studios to businesses breaking barriers that might surprise you and everything in between. Join me on the NCWLIFE magazine right here on the NCWLIFE channel.
And now it's a sports update on the NCWLIFE channel.
And a happy Tuesday to you. I took some time last weekend to head west and attend the Sportsman Show in Puyallup, where I ran into a familiar face. Well, we're over here in Puyallup taking in the Sportsman Show, and we ran into our buddy Richie Herod Outdoors. And of course, we're talking about the Western Washington, Eastern Washington thing, Richie, and exposing those here on the west side to the east side. And I assume that's probably part of the reason why you're here.
Oh yeah, you know, we have a lot of viewers over here in Western Washington that watch our show, the Northwest Outdoorsman. So it's fun to come over here and hear that they've watched the show and that they enjoy what we do in other parts of the Northwest. So yeah, that's why we're here.
Now we've got some new shows coming up, speaking of which, right here on the NCWLIFE channel, starting this weekend, as a matter of fact. So tell us a little bit about what we're going to see on the new shows.
Oh yeah, so new shows coming up finally. So I already had a lot of viewers here say, when do you have a new shows? I was like, you know, they live in Wenatchee. So we have all kinds of things coming up, some great hunting and fishing throughout the Northwest, and I think people really enjoy some of our new stuff.
I think what I love specifically, and I think what a lot of your viewers love, is the fact that your dad's here, your wife's here. I mean, the other stars of the show, that you feature your family on your show.
Yeah, well, like I tell a lot of the viewers here, you know, our show is just about us, and we are who we are. There's nothing fancy about it. We just capture what we do, and you know, being in the outdoors is really, in my opinion, about being with family and friends. So that's what we try to capture.
Now, here in Puyallup, you're also doing some seminars too?
Yes, I'm doing 2 different seminars. I do one a day and alternate, and I'm talking about bow hunting in the Pacific Northwest for elk, and then I'm teaching people how to do it-yourself backcountry hunting.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Also, with the spice line, now you got something new coming out. Tell us more about that.
Well, we have a brand new barbecue sauce, and it's a recipe a buddy of mine has had for a long time, and he came to me, and we had to modify it a little bit so we could get it to go to market. And it's bottled for us by Paradigm Foodworks in Portland, Oregon, but it's our recipe. And we brought 10 cases to this show, and I think the last 4 bottles is on the table.
Really?
Yeah.
Better get over there, that's for sure. Well, Richie, it's always nice to see you, and I just wanted to kind of talk to some of the guys from our neck of the woods about being over here on the west side and being at a show like this, what that does for you and what that does maybe for our neck of the woods in Eastern Washington.
Oh, it's great to be over here. I think it's real important that we, connect both sides of the state a little bit better.
Yeah.
And so I've really enjoyed being over here and talking to people, and we all have the same passion in the outdoors, and that's what it's really about.
Well, be sure and watch starting this weekend and coming up here throughout the month of February, new episodes of the Northwest Outdoorsman with Richie Herod right here on the NCW Life channel. Of course, look him up on Facebook too. He's also posting little teases about shows to come, and you can find him on the web too. So, Richie, thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, thanks, Eric. Good to see you.
Richie Herod joining us here on the NCW Life channel. All right, taking a look at the world of sports. Few scores to pass along from Monday. Kim Aiken Jr. scored 20 points, including the go-ahead three-pointer in overtime. Led Eastern Washington to an 89-84 win over Northern Colorado. On the women's side, Lady Eagles not so fortunate. Alicia Davis scored a career-high 21 points to lead the Golden Bears to the win 63-42. Also, one high school score to pass along last night from the Les Schwab scoreboard. Antioch girls stopped Soap Lake 55-22. Coming up on the schedule for tonight, Cascade travels to Warden. Chelan hosts Okanagan. Omax at Cashmere. Special night for Cashmere. They're asking everybody to wear the colors of the Lakers in honor of Kobe Bryant. Antioch travels to Cascade Christian. Manson is at Liberty Bell coming up at 6 o'clock. On the boys' side tonight, Cascade plays at Warden at 7:15. Also same start time for Cashmere and Omak at Rondon Memorial Gymnasium, as well as Okanagan and Chelan. At 7:30, Liberty Bell hosts Cascade while Antioch plays at Cascade Christian. Earlier today, Eastmont celebrated seniors with its final bowling match of the season. Ladies were hosting Sunnyside at Eastmont Lanes at Lake City Bowl and Moses Lake. Chiefs also wrapping up the regular season at home against Eisenhower. Coming up on the wrestling mats tonight, 4 Caribou Trail League teams mixing it up at Okanagan. First of all, Cashmere and Okanagan, while Cascade wrestles Chelan. Then later, it's Cashmere and Chelan and Cascade facing Okanagan. In the CWAC tonight, Quincy hosts Othello, while Ephrata travels to Wapato at 7 o'clock. Here's a lineup for Wenatchee Wild this coming week. Begins tomorrow night in Vernon, where the Wild take on the Vipers at 7 o'clock. Then on Friday, Wenatchee plays at Trail starting at 7. Finally, Saturday, Wenatchee returns home for Guns and Hoses night at the Town Toyota Center as Coquitlam Express come to town at 7:05. Sports schedule begins tonight here on the NCW Life channel. We have Eastmont and Wenatchee girls bowling at 7. Also on Thursday, hockey night features the Wild and Surrey, followed by Eastmont and Wenatchee wrestling at 9. Grant will be courtside at Eastmont, where the Wildcats host Moses Lake Friday. Girls at 6:30, boys at 8. Then on Saturday, live at Wenatchee High School, will be there for the girls at 5:30 as the Panthers and Wildcats go at it. 7:30 for the boys. Also Hall of Fame night for Wenatchee as they'll induct the Dylan Sugg, Isaiah Brandt Sims, and Jay Young into their Hall of Fame. We'll have that ceremony as well at about 7 o'clock on Saturday. That's a look at sports news. I'm Eric Granstrom. Grant, back to you.
Thank you very much, Eric. Now let's check in with Dan Kuntz for a look at what's coming up tomorrow morning on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Dan?
Thank you very much, Grant. The annual Rails and Ales Downtown Party is coming up in just a couple of weeks. The 2 presenting sponsors, Numerica Credit Union and Mission Ridge Ski and Snowboard Resort, and Jessica Clay from Numerica, and Tony Hickok from Mission Ridge will be my guest tomorrow to talk about the big party coming up in a couple of weekends. Rails and Ales is back, plus everything you need to know to get your Wednesday going with Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We'll be live right here in this very studio at 7 a.m. tomorrow. We expect to see you then. Grant, back to you.
Thank you, Dan. And that's going to do it for our newscast tonight. For more on these stories and other news from around North Central Washington, you can find us on Facebook or our website at ncwlife.com. And remember, if you see news happening, we'd like to hear from you. You can send us an email at news@ncwlife.com or give us a call at 888-6295. I'm Grant Olson. Thanks for joining us, and have a great night.
Tom from Alpine Air Heating and Cooling. At Alpine Air, we think of ourselves as customer service oriented retailers. When you make an appointment, please visit our store, meet our people, see our shop. We are serious about heating and air conditioning. Carrier and Alpine Air are offering huge factory rebates and financing options for all your needs. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Alpine Air. Call for your free replacement estimate. Heat and air, call Alpine Air, 662-6846.
Have a fun video you'd like to see featured on NCW Life? Email us at newsphotos@ncwlife.com.